What's going on, everyone? So yesterday, the Los Angeles Lakers handled business back-to-back against the New Orleans Pelicans on the road. I know it wasn't back-to-back days, but back-to-back games, both on the road, which is very hard to do against any team in the league, right? And then you add in the fact that the Pelicans, they were cruising before running the Lakers. But it's a really good matchup for the Lakers. Pelicans, they have a bunch of long, twitchy wings that can defend out on the perimeter. They're one of the best three-point perimeter defensive teams in the league, but interior defense is something that they really lack. And it's what the Lakers are really good and strive in. And they got the size, the matchup. It's just really good matchup for the Lakers. And I know a lot of people are disappointed that the Lakers, had an 18-point lead and blew it. I talked about it earlier, right, leading into the game, that I would have been shocked if the Lakers blew out the Pelicans again. You knew that they were going to bring their punches. You knew that they were going to play as a team with desperation. Both of these teams desperately needed this win. And I know a lot of people, even like with the whole Zion thing, are throwing out the narrative that if Zion, Lakers would have lost. I don't believe that. Again, Lakers were in control and in demand that entire game. And yes, Zion, we didn't really have an answer for Zion, but they never regained the lead. It was just back and forth. They couldn't stop us. And yes, we couldn't stop Zion. But to think if Zion was still in it, that the Lakers for sure would have lost it's silly. Because even if we just kept going back and forth like we did, guess who wins the game? The Lakers. Because at the end, the Lakers would have hit the shot to win it because they could not stop us. And granted, coulda, woulda, shoulda. However, I think the biggest thing that you could point to, which isn't a Laker thing, it's a Pelicans and Willie Green thing, is as soon as Zion went down, why wasn't Brandon Ingram rushed into that game? I understand Willie Green talked about how, he liked the group that was out there. They're the group that got the lead back. But everything changed when Zion went out in regards to not having that other star and deterrent, right? And it's to have Ingram out there, it's okay, at least even if Ingram does have his struggles, he's still a long, lengthy guy that you have to account for that may have been able to hit some shots. Maybe you could have gotten going. In worst case, maybe you get him in a little rhythm leading into the game that you now got to play against Sacramento. So that to me was a little odd. But I don't believe that the Lakers lose this game regardless. The Lakers were in control. They were in demand. And I liked how they showed up. I liked the urgency. I liked the aggression that this team played with. Again, I understand losing the lead, but you knew the Pelicans were going to throw haymakers. You knew the Pelicans weren't just going to lay down. Knew that they were going to go on a run. I even talked about how I thought this game would be a game of runs. I actually thought the Pelicans were going to be the ones that got the big lead, and the Lakers were playing catch up. And then I said if the game was tight and it was a 2-score game either way, that I thought the Lakers would do enough to close and finish that game strong and end up gaining the lead. I also didn't think LeBron offensively and Anthony Davis offensively would have their struggles, but nothing against. I mean, they were still fantastic. Anthony Davis had some huge plays, some huge moments. The defensive side, rebounding the basketball. LeBron James just controlled and orchestrated that game beautifully. He just didn't really seem to have the lift, which now that the Lakers have 4 days off for rest, I think is going to be huge for them. I think it gives them a lot of just time for Anthony Davis to rest his back, get some treatments, hopefully get himself right. LeBron James, rest that ankle, get some treatment, be ready for that Denver matchup. But I also really love that the other guys really stepped up. D'Angelo Russell was, huge is an understatement. He not only kept us afloat in the first quarter, he literally had half of our points. We had 26 points at the end of the first quarter. D'Angelo Russell had 13 of those 26. He had half of our points in the first quarter, made arguably, if not the biggest defensive play of the game when he got that steal and just read that pass beautifully, which he was actually very good on the defense side this entire game. And then on top of that, hit the huge three that you just saw building, right? If you watched that game, you just saw that was coming, right? You saw, I think it was Herb Jones sagged off a D'Lo while they were bringing the ball up, and they were worried about the entry pass to Anthony Davis. And I was just like sitting there, just like, oh, D'Lo's going to get a wide open three. He has to hit it. Because if he misses that, the Lakers might have lost that game. Him hitting that put the game away. And that's why I don't think anything changes with Zion, right? Like, they still were trapping AD. They still would have trapped the entry pass. They still would have done everything the same way. So it still would have very likely came down to that D'Lo shot. And if D'Lo hits that shot, Lakers win. If he misses that shot, the Lakers might have lost. But he hits the shot, the Lakers win, and we're in good shape. But I also love that Anthony Davis and LeBron James had their struggles on the offensive side. And the other guys stepped up and played big, which led to the win. Right? Because we're going to need the other guys for the Denver game and the Denver matchup in that series. Because as you saw in the previous year, that was one of the big problems was the other guys. LeBron James and Anthony Davis went up against Jokic and Murray, and Jokic and Murray were able to basically offset LeBron and AD, but then you didn't have anyone else. It was like, where was D'Lo? Where was Lonnie? Where was Rui? Where was Schroeder? Where were all these other guys? You know, Malik Beasley was unplayable, right? And it's like, you look on the other side, and it's like KCP, Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, who I think a lot of people are sleeping on the value that he added to that team, especially in that Lakers matchup. And then, Aaron Gordon, right? So Denver had their guys step up, and the Lakers had their struggles. But you're seeing the confidence from guys. You're seeing the confidence particularly from D'Angelo Russell, which I think is huge and is going to go a long way for the Lakers. Because Denver's the tough matchup, right? Lakers aren't going to run through Denver. I think if the Lakers win, more likely than not, it's 7 games. But that's where I'm at. Get me to a game 7. Because you get me to a game 7, I will take my chance in that one game, put the ball in LeBron James and Anthony Davis's hands, and you trust that they could go win you one game. Right? Denver, don't get me wrong, they're incredible, and you'd be on the road. But I like that. Now, can the Lakers win in 6 or something? Sure, it's very possible. But I think this series probably goes the distance. And to me, it's going to come down to which team has the other guys step up more. And I really like the matchup better, right? And I'm glad we're getting them in the first round. I've talked about it heavily, right? I want the smoke. I want this matchup. I want to be able to get this over with, right? Then other than the anticipation, and then we get it in, say, the conference finals, and then you fall short. No, we're either good enough or we're not. So we're either going to show up, handle business, beat Denver, and then I think we win an NBA championship, or we lose to Denver. However, I will be shocked if it's a sweep again. But we lose to Denver, or if we lose to Denver, then we weren't good enough. And then we weren't going to win the championship anyway. And all roads lead to Denver. And I know a lot of people feel like, oh, but what if Denver, what if, like, it's a lot of what if. Instead of putting it in somebody else's hands, put it in our hands. Because again, we're either good enough or we're not. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Denver is the best. So go win, handle business, beat Denver. And then at that point, I think our momentum, our confidence, I think everything is just at an all-time high. As long as we are and remain healthy, I just don't see anybody else beating us in a 7-game series. I'm not saying that they can't, right? I think Phoenix has a ton of firepower. I think, Minnesota, they got a ton of size. There are definitely teams. The Clippers, I mean, they have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden, although I don't really believe in them. Right? Dallas has Kyrie Irving and Luka. Like, I'm not saying that, Lakers just run through the West, but I do like the matchups against everybody. It's just Denver's kind of got that dark cloud over us. They're kind of that hill that we have to climb. And I believe once we climb that hill, that's it. I think everything else just opens up and Lakers are off to the races. And I think that if they can kind of get the monkey off of their back and prove, I think that's kind of the proof of okay, we did it. going to that locker room and going, okay, we took down Goliath, right? David beat Goliath. Everyone counted us out. People didn't think we were going to win. Like, I do. I think this is huge. And then you add in the extra rest. And yes, I know Denver is going to get the same amount of rest, but there's a big difference. We have a 39-year-old, year 21 player on our team, and they don't. They're younger, right? So we need that rest. We need Anthony Davis, who's dealing with, hip and back spasms and nerve issues and all kinds of, like, now he can kind of rest and get his body right a little bit, right? And then you have, 2 to 3 days in between games. And that, I think, will go a long way for the Lakers. So we got here. That was the goal. That was step one. Get to the Denver Nuggets matchup. Now, got what we wanted, and it's just about executing and closing out and handle business. You're going to have to win on the road. If the Lakers win one of the first 2 games, I believe they win the series. If they go down 2-0, I think Denver will ultimately win. Because it'll be tough. Because at that point, you're going back and forth with Denver. All it takes is just, I'm not saying that they can't win if they go down 2-0. I'm just saying it'll just make things so much tougher on them. But if you win, let's say you win game 2, right? Even if they lose one in LA, I still think that they can win the series. Because again, I think it's just them proving that, okay, we can beat them, and 2, we can beat them on the road. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, like, Lakers can't beat Denver twice at home, and all. They say that about it. They said the same thing about the Pelicans. I know Denver's not the Pelicans, but again, Lakers can absolutely. It's just about getting those wins. As soon as the Lakers figure out and go, oh, wait, we can beat this team, everything changes. Like, one of the examples I've used is like the Clippers. For years, we couldn't beat the Clippers. And Clippers were, at least the Denver games are close. The Clippers games, they were beating us by like 20 every time we played them. And then we beat them that one time, and it's just like they can't beat us now. They have 21-point leads in the fourth quarter, and they can't beat us. Like, to me, I think it's because the Lakers got that monkey off their back and were able to get over the hump, and it's like everything opened up. And I think that'll be the same thing for Denver. I think you beat Denver. I think everything will open up. I think it'll be like, oh, wait, we really can beat them. And then everything changes. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? You think the Lakers beat Denver? You think, nah, it's not happening? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. Let me know down in the comments below. What'd you think of the Pelicans, I guess, series? Because you played them twice. It was basically a 2 out of 3. So what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear. Let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.